The episode starts with Kunal thinking of Kuhu. He sees Mishti and Abir. He says, what is she doing with Abir? Don't know what she tells him about me. He gets lawyer's call. Abir says, sorry to make you feel uncomfortable. Mishti says, no. I should have asked you and come here. She says, I celebrate Ganesh utsav alone every year. You are with me this year. I have a feeling that you will always be with me. This festival is special to me. She says, your dad used to celebrate this. Abir says he used to make the idol. We used to make pandal and pray for 11 days. I didn't know dad will also go with Bappa. Bappa comes back every year. But dad never comes back. Mum stopped me from getting Ganesh ji home. But I celebrate it every year. I really miss my dad. Mishti asks him to say more about his dad. Abir recalls his dad's words about Ganpati. Abir says he used to ask me to become like Bappa. Help everyone. Make everyone smile. He left. We should go now. Jasmeet may come. She says no. You aren't fine. He says no one knows about us. Go. She says Kunal knows. He asks what? She says I just feel so. I think you should talk to him once. He says yes. I shall talk to him. They hug. Kunal looks on and gets angry. Meenakshi calls Nanu. He asks, how are you? She says, I'm fine. But bit tired. I work always. But this time, I got late in doing this work. He says, you do work all day. You managed my work and I stepped back. I didn't wish to interfere. You trust someone else like I trusted you. She asks who. He says Kunal is with you. We will teach work to Koshal also. Meenakshi says Abir is away from me. Nanu says I will talk to Abir. He has to come back home. She says no. Don't worry. I didn't accept defeat ever. Did you take medicines? Parul looks on. Nanu says Parul is in front of me with medicines. You left your shadow here. Meenakshi says sometimes shadow also leaves you. Go to sleep. She ends call. Nanu says something is wrong Parul. Meenakshi is worried. Parul says let her come back. We will ask her to rest. We will talk to Abir and Kunal. Nanu says it's your right. Tension gets higher in Ganesh utsav every year. Jasmeet calls Mishti and asks, why did you leave me alone? Mishti says you were sleeping. Relax. Get ready. I will send cab for you. Jasmeet thanks her. Mishti asks, is it ready? The lady says yes. Mishti says, don't tell Abir. I want to surprise him. We will fix this over Bappa. Will flowers fall down? The man gives remote and asks her to try. She tries and flowers petals fall. She thinks I will surprise Abir. She asks lady to make Abir do arti. Abir comes. Mishti says I have work and goes. Abir says arti things are ready. He asks Mishti what did she think. Mishti says you think a lot for me. He says you are planning something for me. She says no. Did you talk to Kunal? Kunal comes. Abir says no. She says you won't talk. Kunal thinks Mishti is asking Abir not to talk to me. Abir asks how. Kunal is my brother. I will talk to him. Kunal thinks I didn't think of this. Abir will always take my side. Meenakshi comes to meet someone and asks for the papers. A lady comes and asks, why are you troubling my husband? We got the bed in the morning. His treatment is going on. Meenakshi apologizes. Laxman says I just found out that he got discharged. Meenakshi says I pay you to find out beforehand. Where will I find him now? Abir makes Kuhu give the donation from Ho's NGO. He asks Kuhu to give the gift. Kuhu gets happy. She says we can take a selfie. I have 1 lakh followers on social media. She takes selfie with the cops. Mishti asks, is everything ready? Go and ask him to do arty. The lady asks Abir to do arty. Abir does the arty. Mishti uses the remote. The flower petals don't fall. She asks the man about it. He says, you have seen it before. Shall I climb up and get the hanging down? She says, no need to risk life. I think I can surprise Abir. She goes. Abir looks on and asks the man. Kunal apologizes to Kuhu and says, don't expect me to love you. You are Mishti's sister. She always comes in between. Mishti prays for Abir. That he gets his answers. He is finding his dad. Rose petals fall on her. She sees Abir clung onto the rope. She asks him to come down. The rope gets breaking. Everyone gets shocked. Kunal runs to save Abir. He runs upstairs and shouts. He runs to hold the breaking rope. The rope breaks. Kunal jumps and catches it. Abir lands safely. Mishti asks, are you fine? Abir says, you wanted flower shower on Bappa. Kunal comes back. He scolds Mishti. He says, you just think of yourself. Abir says, stop it, Kunal. Kunal says, get out of Abir's life. Get out. Mishti cries. Abir shouts, Kunal. Kuhu looks on. Mishti sees Abir and goes. Abir stops Mishti. He asks Kunal to apologize. Kunal gets shocked. He asks, are you serious? Kuhu worries and thinks he may angrily say that he doesn't accept our marriage. Kunal says, I won't say sorry. He goes. Mishti says, forget it, Abir. Abir says, he insulted you. She says, I will talk to him. Stay here and do puja. He says, no puja is imp than a girl's respect. She says, Kunal won't listen. You will be hurt.